My father laughed when I told him I wanted to be a chef. Then he told me to pack my things and get out. I was 18 years old. I had $312 and nowhere to sleep. 7 years later, he stood at my front gate, begging me not to let the bank take his house. And this time, I was the one who got to decide. Beat. Let me tell you what happened. My parents kicked me out when I was 18 years old. 7 years later, they showed up at my front gate asking me for help. If you enjoy stories where karma does its job quietly, but completely, you're in the right place. Let's begin. I was standing in the kitchen of my ranch house outside Austin, making coffee, when my security system chimed. I glanced at the screen and froze. My mother and father were standing at my gate. Behind them, in the car, sat my sister Marin, staring at her phone like she didn't even want to be there. I hadn't seen any of them in 7 years. Not since the night my father told me to leave and never come back. Not since my mother stood silently in the hallway and let it happen. Not since my sister smirked from the stairs as I packed one bag and walked out of the only home I'd ever known. Now they were at my house. The house I built from nothing. And I already knew why they had come. My name is Ivy. I'm 27 years old. I own 18 restaurants across Texas. 2 years ago, Forbes estimated my net worth at $85 million. But when I was 18, I had $312 and nowhere to go. I grew up in a suburb outside Detroit. My father was a financial consultant. My mother was a hospital administrator. They valued status, credentials, reputation. And they had 2 daughters. Marin, the golden child. And me, the disappointment. Marin was perfect. Straight A's. Student council. Pre-law at Michigan. I was quiet. Creative. I loved cooking. The kitchen was the only place I felt like I belonged. By 16, I was cooking dinner 3 nights a week. Not because they asked me to, because it made me feel alive. But in my house, cooking wasn't a passion. It was a hobby. And hobbies were for people who didn't aim high enough. Senior year, I told my father I wanted to attend culinary school. I still remember the way he laughed. Cold. Sharp. Like I had just told a joke. He said he hadn't worked his entire life to raise a cook. He said if I wanted to flip burgers, I could do it without his support. I asked what would happen if I chose culinary school anyway. He looked at me and said, "Then you can find somewhere else to live." I went to my mother. She said he was right. She said I was being selfish. That Marin would never put them in this position. That was the moment I understood something. I had never truly belonged in that house. Graduation night was the end. During the party, my aunt mentioned my culinary plans in front of everyone. My father dragged me into his office. He said I embarrassed him. He said if I wanted to throw my life away, I could do it somewhere else. He opened the door and pointed upstairs. I packed one bag. Clothes. A recipe notebook. $312. My mother gave me a stiff hug. My sister didn't even come downstairs. At 11 p.m., I walked out. And I never looked back. I took a Greyhound bus to Austin, Texas. Why Austin? It was far. And the ticket was cheap. I arrived with $225 left. I walked into every restaurant I could find asking for work. Most turned me away. No experience. Too young. No references. On my 3rd day, nearly out of money, I found a small restaurant called Casa del Sol. The paint was peeling. The lunch crowd was 3 old men eating tacos. But the smell from the kitchen. It felt like home. That's where I met Mr. Santos. He was 68. Gray hair. Strong hands. Kind eyes. He asked if I knew how to make salsa verde. I said I could learn. He handed me an apron. Mr. Santos didn't just give me a job. He gave me a chance. He let me sleep in the storage room until I could afford rent. He taught me flavor balance. Respect for ingredients. That food was a language. He became the father I never had. Within a year, I was cooking beside him. Creating fusion dishes. Mexican foundations with unexpected influences. Korean tacos. Thai-spiced carnitas. Brisket with mole. People started coming just for my dishes. Then one night, he told me he was thinking of retiring. And he offered to sell me the restaurant. For $1. plus 10% of profits for 5 years. He said I was the daughter he never had. I signed the papers on my 21st birthday. The first year nearly broke me. I made mistakes, lost money, worked 16-hour days, collapsed in the kitchen once at 2 a.m. But I refused to fail. I launched a food truck. Bright yellow. Impossible to ignore. Revenue doubled. Then tripled. An investor found me at a festival. Patricia Chin. She said my concept could scale nationally. I didn't want partners. She said I'd keep creative control. 3 days later, I signed. 2 years later, I had 10 restaurants. Then 14. Then 18. A Netflix show. A Forbes feature. 85 million net worth. And a ranch outside Austin. All built from the night they told me I wasn't good enough. And through all of it, my family never called. Not once. I started a foundation for young chefs. Kids who had nowhere to go. Who were told their dreams were stupid. We trained over 400 young people. 5 scholarships every year in Mr. Santos's name. He passed away at 81. But his legacy lives in every kitchen I own. Then one day, my security system chimed. And there they were. My father's business had collapsed. Their house was in foreclosure. My sister had been disbarred. The perfect family wasn't so perfect anymore. They stood at my gate asking for help. I could have turned them away. I didn't. But I gave them conditions. My father would publicly admit what he did. And both of my parents would volunteer at my youth program for 3 months. Not as guests. As workers. Dishwashing. Cleaning. Serving. He said I was humiliating him. I said this was accountability. He accepted. The podcast interview was painful. He admitted he threw me out. He admitted he laughed at my dreams. He warned other parents not to repeat his mistake. For the first time, he sounded small. Human. They worked 3 months in my program. Quietly. Daily. Something changed in them. Entitlement faded. Perspective grew. On the last day, my father asked if I could forgive him. I told him forgiveness doesn't happen on command. It grows. Or it doesn't. I paid off their mortgage anyway. Not because they deserved it. Because I refused to let bitterness define me. But I made one thing clear. This didn't erase 7 years. Trust takes time. My sister stayed in Austin. I gave her a job at the foundation. Minimum wage. Entry level. She earned every promotion. We're not close. But we're rebuilding something slowly. Carefully. 7 years ago, I was an 18-year-old girl standing on a sidewalk with 1 bag and $300. They thought they were destroying me. They were setting me free. So let me ask you something. Has anyone ever told you your dreams were worthless? Did you prove them wrong? Drop your story in the comments. Because somewhere right now, someone is standing on that sidewalk. And they need to hear that they're going to be okay. Trust me, they will.